We're here at Typing Room, the latest fine dining hotspot in East London. Young but experienced chef Lee Westcott, the former protege of Jason Atherton and Tom Aikens, is known for his incredible attention to local produce and foraging. Since the restaurant is approaching its second birthday, we're going to go inside and ask Lee a few questions about his success. So it's very nice to meet you. You've worked with Renee Redzepi, Jason Atherton, Tom Aikens and Gordon Ramsay. What do successful chefs have in common, and what makes them great?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think they're all very different, but I guess what's common about them all is that they're very determined, passionate, hard-working people, and they know what they want, and they're very strong-minded. I think that's what makes them very successful.
You work a lot with local produce and foraging. Is that the X factor to your menu?
Yeah, when we write the menus, we let the seasons do the work for us. We just put on what's at its best, really, and then just do it in our kind of way. The foraging aspect just adds a different dimension to it. It can add a bit of pepperiness to the dish, or depth, or some sorrel for sourness. It all depends, and it's just fun. Foraging is fun as well, and gets all the team together. Gets me out of the kitchen for a bit. It's just quite nice.
When did you realise you could run a kitchen by yourself?
I guess it was when I was working for Tom Aikens. I was there for 4 years. I kind of ran the kitchen for the last 2.5 years as head chef. And I guess it was when Tom had a baby, he had a little girl. So it was really then that he wasn't about for the last sort of year that I was there, and I really did run the kitchen, sort of have it as my own, have my own stamp on things. I guess it was then I realised that I had that sort of managerial skills to actually run a kitchen.
What years were this?
Oh God, I can't remember now. Years just all muddled into one. Do you know what? I can't actually remember.
You know how old you were?
Yeah, I was 26, I believe. No, I was younger. God, I was 24.
Oh, wow.
24.
Vigente used to be on the same site. Did it help to get your name out, or was it a daunting prospect to live up to?
I guess a bit of both. I guess having Nuno attached to this name, and then before me, and then me taking over, it was people was already watching it as a thing. But then that brought in a lot of I did freak out a little bit to start with, because he's an amazing chef, amazing talent, and what he done here in this building was absolutely incredible. And yeah, of course, I think any chef in they would be mad not to be a little bit worried about not succeeding and not doing as good as sort of Nuno did. So yeah, I was a little bit daunted.
When you opened, was the menu sort of your greatest hits, or did you come up with brand new dishes for the menu?
When I opened, it's the first time. It's not the first time. It's the first time I wrote this kind of food menus for this kind of food. So they were all brand new as such. There was one or two, the fish skin and the cauliflower dish, which I first did when I was living in Hong Kong. That's where I first came up with it, and I brought them over, tweaked them a little bit, and the rest of them are all complete new inventions as such.
Oh, that's amazing. So how often do you change the menu?
So we change the menu. We never do a full menu change. We just do kind of, when things go out of season, we just kind of change that dish or change that aspect of the dish. Depends if it's a minute thing. We might get something in that's similar that's in season, but not change the whole dish. Or if it's quite an integral part of the dish, we'll change the whole dish. And we change sort of lunch menu changes every 2 weeks, and then the tasting menus we change just sort of as and when things come in and out of season. So there's always things changing. We're always tweaking and changing, but it's never right. Here's a whole new menu, because we wouldn't do that for several reasons. I think one, that it puts too much sort of stress on the kitchen. You just focus on each individual one, sort of one at a time. I think it works a little better like that.
Many chefs dream of having their own restaurant. What did it take to open the Typing Room and get to this level?
A lot of sleepless nights, and it's just hard work, literally. Learning and hard work. And I'm still learning now, and the restaurant's still exactly where I want it to be. It just needs to keep improving. So you just keep learning and keep working hard and evolving. I think Yeah, open restaurants not easy.
I'm sure. So did social media influence the way you run the restaurant? Like, do you Google your diners or anything?
We don't Google our diners unless we recognise a name and we want someone recognise it. We want to make sure who it is or something. But we don't Google every guest. But social media is just a funny one. I think every chef loves to they kind of love to hate social media. It's good and it's bad for everybody. You know, if you get a positive comment on social media, I'm sure it makes everybody feel good. And if you get a negative one, it makes you feel awful. I tend now not to read them really, unless they pop up on my phone. But you know, it's the same with TripAdvisor and stuff. It's nice, but it's not that important. You know, everyone's different. You can't please everybody. And as the older and more sort of mature I get, I realise that you're not, you know, it's like music. We don't all like the same music. So we don't all like the same arts. We're not all going to like the same food. We all have different taste buds. So if someone didn't like it, unless it was a very obvious thing that we did wrong, then I'll take that as, you know, constructive feedback. But if they didn't like it, then they didn't like it. And, you know, you can't beat yourself up about it. But you kind of have to take, you know, criticism under your belt.
Very wise words. So how competitive are you as a chef?
Well, I think every chef is competitive now. I think that's what makes us. Well, for me, it helps for my restaurant to be competitive because, you know, I see people like James Lowe and Isaac and, you know, Brett Graham at the Library and just in many other restaurants, and they're all doing. You know, I look at everything and I go, wow, you know, and it just makes you want to kind of like push and push and push. If there wasn't that around, you just kind of chill out, wouldn't you? And you wouldn't progress and get any better. So I think it's good, you know, everyone sort of drives each other to do better, I'd say.
So we spoke with Chef Marianne about the lack of prominent female chefs in the food industry. Do you think things are finally changing?
I think, yeah, they are. There's a lot more female chefs around now. And a lot more from when I was a chef, you know, young chef, there was not many. I guess it was always predominantly a male industry, but now things are changing obviously for the better, and there's a lot more good female chefs out there and doing really well. And you know, but I think, you know, you look at the world's 50 best restaurants, and in 5 years' time you'll see a lot more women, I believe, than what there is today. And you know, it's always getting more and more, which is really good.
So next we're going to play an easy game to find a little bit more about you. So just a couple of quick questions. When and where was the last time you had a breathtaking meal? You can say your own restaurant if you like.
I've only eaten here once. Where was a breathtaking meal? I'll tell you what it was. It was the last breathtaking meal for me was a Clove Club. It was truly. I've eaten there probably 5 times, and that was.
Where was it? Sorry.
Clove Club, and that was it was one of the best meals I've ever eaten.
What did you have?
Oh God, that was quite a while ago now. I had the scallop dish and with truffle.
Oh wow.
And clementine, I believe, and the ducks stand out.
Wow, have to make a trip there.
It's very good.
What's your favourite restaurant in London?
I think I'd have to say the Library. Yeah, the Library. It's again, I've eaten there 5-6 times. It's just constantly just hitting nail on the head, consistent, and just so tasty. And for me, it's the best restaurant in London.
And what's your guilty pleasure with food?
Where's my guilty pleasure with food? Toast. I eat a lot of toast now with Marmite, but I do eat a lot of toast. I don't know why. Easy.
What's the harshest comment you've received at Typing Room?
That every dish was awful. One customer said it. He was a lovely man. No, I didn't. Yeah, it was harsh. Yeah.
I'm sure he was just having a bad day.
Oh, I'm not sure what happened.
Do you have a dream chef collaboration?
I guess with Rene, would that be? That'd be cool.
What's an ingredient you couldn't cook without?
Salt.
A good one. I think a lot of chefs would say that. If you weren't a chef, what do you think you would be?
I have no idea. I wouldn't be sitting in front of a computer, I know that much. I've thought about this and I would never be able to tell you. I don't know.
Good thing you are a chef then.
Yeah.
If typing room weren't in the UK, where would it be?
South of France.
Because you think the flavours would complement everyone's palates there, or?
No, I more said it because I'd like to live in the south of France. But yes, no, and the French produce is amazing, and you know they know their food, and they're into it. I think.
True. Can you tell us about your kitchen? What is a typical day at Typing Room for you?
You want me to run through the whole day?
Yeah.
Okay. Me and the guys, we get here around between 7 and 8. We get the bread on, so sometimes that'll be me or my head chef. We make the bread, and then it's a case of doing meat and fish prep, and then I'll do some emails for an hour, and then go back into the kitchen and do some jobs for people, and then it's a case of coming upstairs and do lunch service, and then downstairs, and then we do any more prep we need to do, and then hopefully I'll get some of my guys out of break, and I go on a break or so, go to the gym, or I do some more emails, and then come back, do night service, and go to sleep and do it all over again. Eat some toast before I go to bed. That's what happens.
Which piece of equipment could you not live without in the kitchen?
A spoon.
As an essential
It's an
tool.
essential tool.
Thought it would be
I
something
think
a
they're
lot
more essential than knives.
Oh, okay,
You've
that's
always got a
interesting.
spoon in your hand.
Where do you think British cuisine is going?
Well, it's I think it's at its peak. It's like I don't know what's going to happen next, because we've kind of gone from quite formal fine dining into informal fine dining, and I couldn't tell you what sort of trend would be next. But for me, I think the English cuisine at the minute is like second to none, and is some of the best in the world at the moment. I think it probably is up there being the best city for food in the world at the moment, and I just see it improving because everyone's kind of just pushing to do better and better, and it's good. It's really good to see.
Last question. What advice would you give to a young chef who has fallen in love with fine dining cuisine?
Just get your head down, work hard in a good kitchen. I'd actually say I wouldn't do fine dining to start with. I would go into that later on. I'll do kind of solid, classic cooking, a big restaurant, and then go into the fine dining if that's what you wanted to do after. You kind of learn both aspects. That's the best way, I believe.